Hello, I'm back from Russia, Stewart A. Swerdlow for expansions.com.
And Janet Diane Mourglia-Swerdlow, also for expansions.com.
And I'm sure that you missed me very much and probably cried every day until you saw me again now on film.
Me?
Well, them.
Oh, so I thought them.
Yeah, I know you don't cry for me.
Why would I cry for you?
It's like I come back and say, oh, you're back? So it's okay.
It's like, who are you? There's a stranger in my house.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's why I have to leave all the time, because then I get appreciated more when I come back.
By who?
Yeah, right. The animal, the dogs love it, because I give them biscuits and you don't.
Oh, I give them biscuits, just not as many.
Yeah, I give them biscuits every day and they love it.
Yeah. So, tell us about your t-shirt.
Well, it says...
But it's in English.
Yes, well, because it's from an artist. It's "With Love from Novosibirsk." And this building that you see behind this tank and explosive is actually the main artistic center of Novosibirsk. It's right in the middle of town. It's a very big, imposing building. And the artist decided to turn it into a tank and then show the explosion through this, like a hole through glass, because he wants to give the idea that through art, through music, painting, literature, whatever creative energies that a person has, that you can blast through the blockages between countries and through politics and religion and all that. You can blast through. And I thought of wearing it home, but I thought TSA maybe thought, you know, why am I wearing a tank with explosives from Russia? You know,
never know.
I didn't think they may not appreciate that so much. But then after I got the T-shirt, the lady who gave it to me took me to a cafe, and there over our table was the original painting on display. Because his work was on display in this very nice cafe.
Amazing.
In Novosibirsk. So there I was wearing a T-shirt in front of the paint. It was a special moment. I got all teary-eyed.
Did we get your picture somewhere with
Well,
that?
actually, I do have a picture, but you never want to see my picture.
That you probably put in the member side, like you have the other things, you're behind the scenes when you travel.
If you ask me nicely or beg, I might.
You can put it in the member side.
In the member side.
Member side. Okay, that's gold members, I think. And you brought some beautiful gifts back.
Yeah, because you know what? Everybody gave gifts for Janet. I got nothing. Nothing. I had to buy my own gifts. Well, okay, I got a T-shirt, but you got all this nice stuff. I got nothing.
And if you see this beautiful necklace that I'm wearing, this is a stone. Can you say it?
Yes, Karolite.
Yes, it only comes from Siberia.
Only from Siberia. It's a unique stone, and the artist who made it by hand. This is a unique piece. There's not another one like it in the world, and it has other precious stones in it and sterling silver. It was given to me as a gift by my sponsor and her mother in Novosibirsk, which was very, very nice. And I actually met the creative artist who made it. We met on a dark street at night in Novosibirsk, seriously, and she said, we're going to meet somebody. And I was like, okay. And we had a cigarette and I spoke, and all of a sudden the guy comes, he goes, here's the thing. I'm like, I hope we're not being photographed or anything. But yeah,
so here it is. So anyway, it's very beautiful, and it really is a beautiful, beautiful piece that was very generous and kind.
And I don't know if we should tell them or not. We'll talk privately about whether we should have such things on our site.
Yeah.
But we'll discuss it privately.
All right. And then also I wanted to share some of the other gifts that were sent. They were absolutely magnificent. I have this beautiful hand-carved box.
That I got in Moscow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That somebody had hand-carved. I just think it's really magnificent.
Yeah, it's very nice. You have to hold it up so everybody can see. And you'd open it up and there's red velvet in there. And it's all made by hand.
It's very lovely. It was
a very nice gift.
And then I have also a couple of, this is also hand-carved wood pieces.
Yeah, that I got in Siberia.
Yeah, very nice.
Someone gave them for you.
It was very lovely. And then someone gave me a keychain with a piece of amber in it.
Russian amber, which is very, very nice. And that I got from a very lovely lady, Yuliana, and her friend in Moscow.
That was nice. And then somebody sent me...
That's from Alexei.
Oh, this is Alexei.
Yeah.
That's how nice.
This was, I think, from his family.
Yeah, it's very lovely, very old cosmetic case.
Open up and show everybody.
Well, there's nothing to see. It's a cosmetic
case. Well, there's a mirror
case.
In there.
There's a cosmetic.
Maybe there's a special Russian surprise.
Maybe. That's why I don't want to show them. It's special for me. All right. Do you have any news for us today?
Do I have news? Well, I am the news. Because
I have a ton of news.
Well, should I tell them about my family or not tell them about my family?
Well, you can tell some about your family, but you know, there's some things you probably want to just hold for some of your, you know, the member side or the special ones or the
Well, all I
people.
can tell you is that I learned things about my family, which made me so happy to learn about them.
That was pretty interesting.
Well, they were quite a crew.
Yeah, well, and that's why they got you, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, so do you want me to start with my news?
No, go ahead. I'll just interrupt when I need to.
Okay, because my news is fascinating. I had so much fascinating news while you were gone. I kept saying, oh, I wish Stewart was here because he would love this stuff.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, the Trans-Siberian Railroad, don't take it.
No?
No, because I was in first class, and if that's first class, I wouldn't want to be in the back.
I thought you said it was good to Novosibirsk.
Well, towards the end, but you know.
Because
it was rough because it was from the old Soviet days, and I don't think they've upgraded it since the World War II.
But we might.
I think it's one of they use those cars to transport people to the gulags.
Oh, that's terrible.
That's what I think.
Ah, that's terrible. I didn't want to hear any more than that.
I know. You should have gone in the bathroom.
No. All right. Are we ready? For space. I have lots and lots of news for you, so we'll hear what Stewart says, because he's been gone for a little bit of time, as you can see.
Yeah, don't get used to me, because I'm going again.
He's going to Thailand. He's got an amazing event scheduled. Well, I don't even know when day you leave, but I know the first part of Thailand. Check the website, because
all I can tell you is my birthday is going to be on the plane.
Yeah, that's okay. That'll be your birthday present.
Notify the press.
Alrighty. We have the European Space Agency that will launch a new satellite in 2017 to study super-Earths and other large alien planets orbiting nearby stars. So again, we're looking for worlds that are like Earth, and this again is a trend that's continuing to happen. So be aware that this is going to happen in increasing amounts. So that's the first thing about space. Then we have that an Earth-sized planet has been found orbiting the Alpha Centauri b, which is part of our star system and is close to Earth. And it goes on to say that this Earth-like planet is so hot its surface might be like molten lava.
So how could it be Earth-like if it's so hot?
Well, but then again, it goes on to say that most likely they're going to find another one which is more like Earth in size and in temperature. So they continue to tell you, to kind of, again, remember how the Illuminati, the global handlers do it. They start entering the frequency bit by bit, and finally they say that there is a planet with 2 suns in a 4-star system, which was found by amateur astronomers.
A 4-star system?
Yes.
Ooh, you got a good sunburn there.
Yeah, but in some of your work, don't you talk about how we will eventually have 2 suns?
Yes.
So they're beginning to imprint you with this idea. And which planet is it that you say is going to turn into another sun?
It actually would be Saturn.
Saturn, okay. So again, they're imprinting you with things that are out there in space that are going to be affecting you sooner rather than later, even though they're telling you it's going to be later. Then this thing, I just wanted to throw this out there to you because I keep talking to you about the word secret. That seems to be a big word out there. And this, again, why they're saying this, I don't know. The U.S. Air Force's launch of the next secret mission by its unmanned X-37B space plane has been officially delayed to mid-November. Well, if they're telling you about it, then it's not secret. But they want to keep getting that word secret out in front of people, it seems. So that's why I'm just bringing that, to watch for these secret things that aren't secret or they wouldn't tell you. And then some of you might have seen the videos online that showed a UFO which hovered for hours above a family home in Scotland.
Oh, they could have been having a little bit too much,
Yeah, no, I saw the video online, and it's obviously something's up there. And of course, nobody's addressing it, but it was there for hours. So obviously, they gave them plenty of chance to get a video and post that on the internet. So more UFO stuff. It's not going to stop.
A little too much whiskey over there.
Or not enough vodka, huh?
Oh, vodka was good in Russia.
Yeah. It's supposed to be good in Russia.
It was really excellent.
Okay. Then we have Cabo San Lucas, and as you know, there have been a lot of earthquakes that are happening in this area. Last Friday, there was a giant oarfish, which is estimated to be about 20 feet long, that washed up on a beach in Mexico, in Cabo San Lucas area, actually. But it said that it was found in shallow water, and of course it was not able to be saved. But the issue is, why are these giant fish that normally live deep within the ocean coming to the surface up in shallow waters?
Because something's scaring them.
Yeah, something's happening.
Something's spooking all these things coming up. But you know, we did see a picture of that. It looks like a giant eel.
It does.
That
it's
would
huge.
make some really great sushi.
Yeah, it would make something. But they
I hope
apparently
they made sushi out of that.
No, they tried to put it back to sea, but they said it didn't survive. So, you know, I don't know if anybody ate it or not, or if they just sent it back out to sea. But the fact that we're seeing these giant fish come up from that area is telling us something's happening deep within the ocean that they cannot survive. Otherwise, they wouldn't be coming to shallow area. And speaking of monsters, this one I needed you for. There were a couple times I needed you for.
What, because I'm a monster? Is
yes,
that what you're
because
saying?
you're a monster.
That's really nice after I go away for so long.
Yes. There is an ad that shows a monster coming up out of the sea that eats people, but then it spits them out because it likes cheese better. It's a terrifying ad, and interestingly enough, it was done by France's Interprofessional de l'Économie Laitière.
From the milk.
Yes, it's an organization that brings together leaders in the French dairy industry. So to have this monster, which is huge, coming up out of the water and eating a person and spitting it out, then to go for the cheese instead, again, it's imprinting you with monsters coming up from the ocean. And the other thing that's happening, which we will talk a little bit about the zombie craze, I've been writing that about that on the home page in my holiday blog. But the word monster is coming up a lot also. So there's a reason for that. I think that must be a trigger word for people. Now, Coca-Cola, speaking of the French people, and Sanofi are partnering to launch a line of beauty drinks. What is a beauty drink? This is going to be on
obviously what I drink.
Must be. Because you're the pretty one.
Of course.
Because this is they're doing a small-scale pilot, which is limited to a number of pharmacies. Now, that was interesting, too.
Well, Sanofi, I should say something.
Yes.
I used to work for Sterling Drug. Sanofi bought them.
Okay, and then it says it's a drug maker based in Paris, bought by, and you can say this word.
Yeah. Laboratoire Nobiol.
In 2009, and this company makes nutritional supplements for skin and hair care. So Coca-Cola and Sanofi making beauty drinks. What that is, we don't know, but that's out there. Now, I want you to remember that last week I showed you the giant eye that people were trying to figure out where it came from. You missed that. You'll have to go back and watch the podcast.
I'll wait till summer repeats.
However, we talked about that being something that showing you about the eye of the global handlers that are always watching you, a programming trigger. Well, this week now we have an elephant. The elephant supposedly has regained sight after a groundbreaking cataract operation in the UK. Now, what's interesting about this is they don't show you the whole elephant. Again, they only show you this giant picture of this giant eye. So let's watch and see if there is a third imprinting thing that happens out there. But this is big news. It's being shown all over the place, again, of a giant eye, which the symbol is watching you. Now, I have a lot of interesting things going on here. I've also been talking to you about the Nazi influence. And again, there were 3 Nazi news things that I wanted to tell you about. First of all, they are talking about the Nazi use of mentally and physically deficient and the mind control and whatever other kind of experiments that were being performed on them. So they exhumed these people, they found out they were disabled, and now again they're talking about this Nazi atrocity on the mentally and physically disabled. So then we move along to Twitter, and Twitter, it says, has for the first time blocked an account using a new tool that allows it to bar content in individual countries. So they banned a German neo-Nazi group because they were showing the swastika. However, it's only blocked in Germany. If you're in other countries, you can see this. Now, what was
ridiculous?
Yeah, but what was interesting was when you were recently on Planet X radio show in the UK and everybody tuned in to watch that, we found out that was blocked in the US and we couldn't watch that show.
Really?
So apparently,
banned in the US.
Yeah, but in the UK they could get the show. So this is telling you what we've already been saying to you, that in other countries they get different news than what we get here in the US and vice versa. They're targeting specific blocks of people for specific kinds of information. Back to Nazis, the third thing. There was a swastika which was found on the Obama campaign office in Colorado. So I don't know if that was a statement of who Obama is working for, perhaps, even...
I don't know if it's them.
Well, we don't know. But 3 things in reference to the Nazis, because I told you that's not going away. You're going to continue to see that. Then mind control and programming, big time things that are going on. And who is out there, but you're going to be shocked on this one, or maybe you weren't shocked, but Big Bird and Mitt Romney. Well, you missed all this.
Are they going out together?
Maybe. But this was just amazing because Mitt Romney, remember, everything is planned. It may sound like it's off the cuff, but it's not.
They kind of look alike a little bit.
A little bit. Anyway, in one of his debates, or whatever it was, talking to moderator Jim Lehrer, who's worked for PBS since the 1970s, he said, Mitt Romney said, "I like PBS, I love Big Bird, I actually like you too, but I'm going to stop borrowing money from China to pay for things we don't need." Well, this created a big flack about Big Bird, and Sesame Street didn't want to have its name used, and so on and so forth. But we keep hearing about Big Bird. So Big Bird obviously is some kind of trigger programming.
Well, it's a big yellow thing. It's ELF color.
That's right. And it's telling people something about, what does a bird represent?
Reptilian.
Okay, and it's also a message, and it's huge. It's a bigger bird than, most any other birds that we've got going on out there.
I once dated a girl who looked like Big Bird.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to hear that
true.
story. So then from Big Bird being in the news, we also have Elmo. Okay, we have Sesame Street, we have Elmo, and again, Obama said last week at a campaign event, he quote said, "Elmo, you better make a run for it," unquote. To me that sounds like a trigger phrase. Elmo, you better make a run for it. So that's going on out there. And then we have evil Elmo, somebody who in San Francisco dressed up like Elmo, hugs children, screams obscenities, and supposedly was involved in some kind of sex scandal.
Oh my goodness.
So we've got Elmo, we've got Sesame Street, and think of all the children that were growing up in that era. I didn't grow up with Big Bird, but our children grew up with Big Bird and Sesame Street, and a lot of people watch that. So there's some kind of programming going on in that generation that they're trying to activate with all of these things. Now you might also have heard about during the interview with North Carolina radio host Bill Lumay, Tag Romney said that hearing the president call his father a liar made him want to jump out of his seat and rush down the debate stage and take a swing at him.
I wish he would have done that.
But here we've got, now who names their child Tag?
Well, like Sarah Palin's Trig and
Correct.
Track.
Right, that's my point. What's going on with
Polar
this?
Bear.
Tag, Trig,
Polar Bear, Palin,
Track,
I
don't know what they are. But these are obviously things that are going on. Now Tag, also you can be tagged or programmed. Remember we talked about it one time, if you're marked, oftentimes in programmed people we see energetically the black check mark. Okay, they're tagged. So this, again, these are programming references that you need to pay attention to. Tag, Trig, Track, what's going on here.
They're all T sounds.
Yeah, and a trigger. We have Trig, we have a programming trigger.
That's right.
Track, we're keeping track of you. Tag, you're being tagged. So it's all there.
Yeah.
Okay, then, again, I've been telling you about what's going on with food, that eventually the government wants to control the entire food supply. And I reported to you that in New York City now they're controlling the portions of sugary drinks. Who cares about that? Blah blah. I can order 2 if I want. Now there's a school that's banning hot Cheetos of all things, saying that's junk food.
Well, that's true.
Yes, but they're banning bit by bit. So eventually they're going to set this snare for you and bring it in. I told you about there was a doctor who wanted to ban butter. And there was something.
Butter's good for you.
Yes, but they want to ban that. They want you to use margarine, like we talked about before, the petroleum products. Right. So now, then the next thing is they're talking portion sizes. Now there's a call by Dr. Lisa Young, who's a nationally recognized nutritionist, who wants government to regulate the portion sizes at eating establishments. So again, these are things people aren't going to pay too much attention to. They don't start, mainstream stuff. They're setting this net, they're casting this out for you. Eventually they want you to get all your food from the government because...
Well, also this morning on the news, I heard on the radio that they did a study between regular food and organic food for children, and the children that ate regular food had no different side effects than children that ate organic food, and the organic food had no better results than the regular food.
Yeah, and they've been saying that for a long time now because, again, they want to get it into your mind that, or at least into the masses' minds, that, again, go with the government because the government is the one that's going to feed you. Food represents what you put in your mind. So if the government can feed you that, They're obviously feeding you what's going into your mind. They're anchoring the non-physical into the physical through food. Now, this was also interesting that I was seeing on the news today, and you may have seen this as well, but there is a new red wine out by Napa Valley, 100 Acres Winery. And of course, if they don't tell you about this, you wouldn't pay any attention to this, but they're explaining to you that there are subliminals in the things that are put out for you. This one is called If You See K. Now, what does that sound like? If you just hear the letters, if you
I think they get it.
see K, okay? And they've spelled all that out. And on top of that, there is a picture of a person, and they have their hands formed in the devil's salute, pointing at these words. And of course, a lot of people are calling this obscene. If you just see the words, a general person like myself who's shopping, I'm not going to think a whole lot about it, but it's putting things to your mind subconsciously on the subliminal letter. Wow. Now, here we go, Breaking Amish. This is also a big new show. Young people who are supposedly leaving the Amish sect and their experiences. And they're using the show to bring out a lot of things. Now, interesting things going on with Breaking Amish, because I told you not too long ago how that the Amish pull out all the young people's teeth at the age of 19, oftentimes. So that was brought up. And Kate, who had this happen to her, a couple of things going on with her. There was a time, supposedly in the night, that she woke up and she called her roommate a monster, there's that word again, and a variety of other things. She claims she doesn't remember saying any of this, and they showed her having an emotional breakdown out in the staircase because her roommates wanted nothing to do for her. So when I took this link down to then put it in my little bag of tricks to decide what I'm going to talk to you about this week, I went back to review this particular link, and this link has been taken down all over the internet. You cannot find this video anymore. So to me, this was a mind control thing. Either she did it and they don't want you to understand the ramifications, or she didn't do it and they were trying to make her think she was crazy, because she said, I didn't do this, I don't have any recollection, and one of the words again is monster. Now also on Breaking Amish, there was another thing. I'll find that story. Try and keep them in order as much as I can for you. Here you go. Remember I talked to you about bestiality and how you're going to be hearing more of that? Well, now the cast members of Breaking Amish are saying that bestiality is basically a more normal part of Amish life than not. So every way that they can bring that out to you, the bestiality, they're doing it.
Which explains why there's not that many Amish people.
Well, actually, they're a very fast-growing population, believe it or not.
Yeah.
One of the fastest-growing populations in the U.S. from what my research shows me. So it's amazing that there are a lot of Amish out there.
With no teeth.
With no teeth. Okay, what are they doing with those teeth anyway?
Don't even go there.
Yeah, but what are they doing with those teeth? When you stop and think about it, you know, nothing is wasted.
I think they bait with it.
Yeah, things are happening with that. In fact, I had reported a couple of years ago from a person that we knew who worked in a lab, a hospital lab, told us that the blood that they use for, you know, they take your blood and then when they're done using it, when they draw the samples and stuff, that those were actually sold to cosmetic companies to be put into things like lipstick and blush.
Yeah.
So, you know, things are going on out there you don't want to know about, but they happen. Okay, back to programming, because there's a ton of it. The zombie craze, again, I wrote that on the homepage. I posted a couple of links for you. A lot of people posted their own links. Again, they're installing that in people. The other thing I noticed that they're doing more of is clowns. Now, why am I bringing up clowns and zombies? Because think about it. They both have that white pallor. They both have false faces on. You know, zombies are kind of the undead. Clowns are kind of like the stupid people.
Yeah, but clowns also are a symbol for IS program.
Yes.
Intelligence spectrum. And also for bumping up levels of program.
Yeah, and so that is, again, that's being very prevalent. And not too long ago, I didn't report on this, but I noticed it, that there was a professional clown who, I can't remember, I think he sexually abused a little girl. I don't think he killed her, but, you know, might just as well, because, you know, obviously that leaves you with a lot of issues.
That mass murderer who was
Yeah, John Gacy. That was a long time ago, but this was within the last couple of weeks while you were gone. There was a clown, professional
clown. I turned my head for a couple of weeks and look what happened.
Yeah, things happen. Well, anyway, now there's bringing out the clown again. Richard Levine, father-in-law, died. He left behind a massive, and get this, 13,000 piece clown collection. Who counts it to find out there's 13,000 pieces? Remember, 13 is trigger. We've got the clowns going on. So lots of stuff going on. But don't worry if you've had trouble with terrible experiences in your life, because now again scientists are finding out ways to erase your memories. And what does this sound like? Remember that movie, what, A Beautiful Mind?
Something like that.
Right, when people could go in and have their minds erased. And I think I've reported on this before, but they're bringing it out again, that they're talking about these findings could have implications for a whole host of populations, including veterans suffering from post-traumatic stress syndrome, or victims of traumatic crime. Others seeking to forget their embarrassing actions at holiday office party may eventually benefit as well. And I remember we knew a person at one time who had a shoulder reset. You might remember that, and they gave her drugs to forget
that happened. Yeah.
When they put her shoulder back, because that was such a traumatic thing. You know, at the time when those things are happening, you don't think, they give you a pill at the hospital and you take it. But these are all parts, in my opinion, of people who are being used for experimental purposes that don't really know about it. Okay, then we have, again, New World Religion. They talked about a mansion in Riverdale, New York, in the neighborhood of the Bronx, which was built in 1925 by a wealthy and a very devout New Yorker. I'm not sure devout for what religion, it doesn't say. But anyway, neighbors and the press speculated that the home was built for the return of Jesus Christ. So again, this is a way to get this phrase in your mind for the return of Jesus Christ, because a lot of places you may not look, but if you're looking at real estate, now you're going to find this phrase because they want to imprint you, they want to put that trigger out there, and they want to get...
like Jesus slept here or something like that.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So they have that all over the place, so that they can imprint the general populace with that Jesus Christ is returning, which we've talked to you about that as well. Now, we're going to get... I've talked to you a lot about naked women. Now we're going to talk more about...
wondering when you were going to get to that
naked
subject.
Men. You missed the testicle beer.
No, I heard about it in Russia.
Actually,
it was all over Russia.
I was disappointed because my cameraman, I'll refer that he's a man, did not put up enough pictures of the testicles, which most people don't realize that when you hold them in your hand from a bowl, each one
turn the camera
covers
off.
like an entire hand.
I'm not listening.
Yeah. And they had vats of these that were being poured into the beer, and he didn't put those up.
You need some therapy.
I think if it was a woman, a female camera, a woman behind my camera, there would have been a lot of those pictures. So not that I'm saying you're not doing your job back there, Mr. Cameraman, but I think you had a little problem too with what was going on. So anyway, back to naked men. Now, remember, they want everybody naked and having sex with everybody. That's the general idea.
Well, most people do.
Most people do, but now they're bringing that out to the public, like Prince Harry and all those kind of goings-on, which was sanctioned by basically by the Queen. Anyway, there's a prominent Vienna museum, the Leopold Museum, that has put up this huge display all over Vienna of naked men. And showing their intimate parts, which usually with men, they don't do that. Usually have them, crossing their legs or doing something to keep the private parts.
Prince Philip under the coat.
Oh yeah, that was
not a pretty picture.
Was that a bit in a bong or something, or a ding in a dong?
No, bits and bobs.
Bits and bobs. That's what it was. Something like I knew it was something like that. Okay. Anyway, so the museum had gotten complaints because
his bits and bobs need to be ironed.
Yeah. Well, listen to this. In Vienna, they had put up approximately 180 large posters of these naked men, full frontal views of their genitalia all over the city of Vienna.
Why?
Well, you tell me why. Because they're imprinting people. First of all, it's female breasts. Now it's men's private parts. Because I know you don't like to call them what they're really called. So, penises and testicles. Anyway, so now they're saying that they're going to put a red paper stripe. Now, why would they do red? Because red is the color of that chakra, and it's very sexual. So that's going to hide the genitalia. Yeah, we all know it's under there. Anyway, it's just the smaller posters with the same motif. This is the 108, only the 180, which are really life-size, which I hope my cameraman will put some of those on for people to see. And smaller posters with the same motif won't be touched. So anyway, Just so you know. Now the other thing, because remember I told you they're trying to get everybody naked. The other thing I noticed in the news, and this happened again, that an off-duty Florida police 2 officers fatally shot an armed naked female. Now these days people who are doing crime seem to be naked. They take off all their clothes and they go do crimes.
They can't hide the weapon.
But I don't know what's going on with this.
I think that's very fair of them, because then you see the weapon all the time.
Well, what is the weapon?
Well, that doesn't matter.
What does a gun represent in a dream? Okay?
It
It's a phallic symbol. Okay? So, they're stripping themselves naked and they're committing all these crimes and they're getting shot. So watch the news for this, because this is amazing what they're doing to people. Then we have, did I have another naked thing here, or was that it?
I think that's enough naked.
You think that's enough naked things? I want to make sure I get all the stuff put together. I tried to do it, but sometimes there's so much out here. Let's quickly go through. Oh, I know what I was also going to talk to you about. Yes, that here's a woman who supposedly, first of all, they said that her teacher shot her. Seth Mazzalia, age 29, that's an 11, which is a number out there that you want to keep your eye on, a programming number and a lot of other things, in New Hampshire. Now they say that she was having group sex. And she died during group sex. Well, what is group sex? You know, if I think of group sex, I'm thinking like dozens of people. This was this woman with another woman and a man. So they're calling that group sex versus a threesome. However, in the other, let's say all the women's catalogs, they're saying how to revive your marriage. That if you want to revive your marriage, you bring in other partners. It's okay if your spouse cheats. Midlife crisis, people are having more affairs, that's okay. One woman says, oh, I would never do that. But this, again, is being put out there over and over and over again to have sex with more than one person at the same time. And basically, it's all okay.
So why did that woman die?
They don't tell us.
Well, I think it's because it was in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, the motto is live free or die.
Maybe that's it. So she didn't want to live free naked, so she died. I don't know. It's amazing what's going on out there. Okay, then... Now, this one I reported on to you once before. You may or may not remember it, but I'm going to tell you again.
I don't think I want to hear this.
Yeah, this one, again, is just, again, fecal transplants.
Oh, my God.
Fecal transplants.
Where do you find this stuff?
Why do people do this stuff? Who's going in for this stuff? I also reported about
that?
Parasite therapy, where they actually go to Mexico and pay thousands of dollars, remember, to put the parasites under the skins? Hey, I'll do it for like a few $100s for people if that's what you want, but don't do it. Okay, fecal transplants. Now, they're saying that they're doing this because the patient needs good bacteria in their colon. So they find a friend or somebody who's willing to do that.
Oh, my goodness.
And then they put the good fecal matter in, which to me is like disgusting.
Why do you need to do that?
I don't know.
Why can't you just take a pill?
Well, you can also implant probiotics that are, you know, you can take probiotic pills.
I think that's just crappy.
It is crappy. I'll tell you what, and people are saying that it's becoming more accepted as people look past the gory details because they're so desperate for a cure. It's like, no, don't be this desperate, people, please. Okay, so moving on.
Thank you.
I was reading this article about the Navy in the Ukraine, which is training dolphins. Listen to this one, to handle guns and knives.
With their little flippers?
I guess.
How do they do that?
For underwater,
so
not with guns and knives, for underwater military protection. Now, they've been used for a long time. You know, dolphins have been used for landmines and all kinds of things, and so have seals, actually. So a lot of animals have been used, but now they're actually using guns and knives, which to me sounds incredible. But I also wanted to mention, and I've mentioned this before, but I always find this fascinating in case you missed it. As you know, we have 2 Norwegian elk hounds, and when we were looking for the Norwegian elk hounds, because they're becoming increasingly more rare, we came across the research that said when you live in Norway, if you have a Norwegian elk hound, and in time of war, the Norwegian government can actually call in all the Norwegian elk hounds to help fight the war. Here in the U.S., again, you may not know this, they can also call in the German Shepherds in time of war. So it's interesting, you know, the animals are out there, the global handlers know a lot of things. This is why they don't want you having purebreds and other things, because there are things that are going on with animals that they're not telling you about. And speaking of animals, I thought we should maybe leave on a little bit of good news.
Oh, thank you.
I've been talking to you a lot about the white animals that are being born. And I've been reporting on those almost weekly. A white humpback whale, a white this, a white that, even white scorpion someone was writing it to me about.
I'd like to see that.
Okay, that was in Thailand. When you go, maybe your sponsor there will show you.
They'll probably have for dinner.
That's possible. Anyway, according to the UK Daily Mail, there has been a little white lion cub who is yet to be named, made its 1-month debut at León Zoo in the city of León, Mexico.
Well, that means lion.
That's right. So isn't that interesting? León was also my grandfather's name. So lots of stuff going on out there in the news that I want you to be aware of, because the trends are out there. Please participate in my holiday blog, and if you enjoy that, get a membership, because we do even more in-depth work over on the membership side. And you're going to be in Thailand, right? In just a couple of weeks.
Well, first LA.
Oh, you're gonna. That's right. You're gonna be available for. You'll only be there a short time. If you want to see him in LA for a personal consultation, contact Patricia, events@expansions.com. Then we have Thailand coming up, which we have lots of stuff. Again, we're going to be showing the Montauk film. You're going to be doing a couple of seminars there and some personal consultations. So Malaysia, people from all that area of the world can come. Where else? Malaysia, where else will they come
Anywhere
from?
Southeast Asia, China, Hong Kong, Singapore, wherever.
What about Australia? Is that closer to them? Closer than here?
But
okay.
You know, it's still a
Because I've had people writing in, so
they can come.
Yeah. So all those people from that area. And if you want to spend some time in Thailand, it's actually a very nice.
It's very hot.
Very hot. There's beautiful food, a lovely environment.
A lot of sex there.
Which, of course, you're not going to be participating in.
No, well, only as an observer or researcher, perhaps.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And,
but please, people, do not share poop. Really.
Yeah, no poop
That
for you?
is just unacceptable.
Oh, you know what? The other thing I was going to tell you about as they're talking about this, I meant to mention this, I didn't write it down. But there is a sect, or what are the S&D, is that what they call it, S&M, right? Where that they poop on people.
Okay, you are. When I leave next time, I am giving you
Seriously,
medication.
there is a fetish out there where they poop on people. And you know what that's called?
Pooping on people?
I don't know, but there's something that it's called, and it's a dominatrix. It's in the S&D genre. So maybe this is the poop transplants are leading people into that area. I mean, there's going to be a lot of stuff.
There's just not enough vodka in the world for that.
Yeah. Anyway, so back to what you're going to be doing. So from there, you're not going to be pooping on people.
No.
Or having people poop on you.
Not.
That's a tongue twister. Okay. From there, then we have Thailand. Okay. Then we have our Suriname Aruba journey. Okay, which is going to be incredible. So if you want to do something fun for the holidays and break out of the old routine and welcome in the new year with Stewart and I, you can tell we're a lot of fun.
And there'll be a lot of sex in Suriname.
There will be. You sure?
I'm positive.
Well, we'll see. Anyway, in January, we have our Hyperspace Oversoul Extravaganza, where we're going to have a week-long
Sex
time.
fest.
Stuart, what's on your mind?
It seems to be what you like, so.
What is on your mind? I know you've been gone for a long time. So I guess it's a good sign that's on your mind. And I won't go any further with that one. But in January, I will be cooking for you food, some of my lovely recipes and some nice warm weather things. And in January, it's really a wonderful time to go inside. I'll let you listen to my grandfather clock even, which I love. So that's in January. We have great people already signing up, so I can assure you it's going to be a really good time. And of course in April we always have our regular healing seminar, which I'm actually working on. I haven't told you about that.
Well, so have I, and I haven't told you about that either.
Okay, it could be scary. We're going to have fun in April. Anyway, this is all leading up again to our Bosnian trip, which we've starting to get the details in from Professor Dr. Osman Nagic. We're starting to put that together for you. And with his big success in Novosibirsk, we were talking about going to Torre Pelice afterwards. We haven't decided, we may go the other direction into Novosibirsk and Moscow. So stay tuned for what we're going to do once we settle everything out, because we always have lots of things planned for you. And so anyway, lots of fun with the Swerdlows. It's never a dull moment, trust me. On camera, off camera, and those people who sign up for the webinars, we have lots of fun before the things that are actually get recorded on there. So lots of interesting things happening. If you have any questions, remember our Q&A section is now located on the member side. You have to be silver, because that way we can give you more our attention. When you support us financially, then we have the time to support you in a deeper way. So we appreciate your support, however that comes in. Again, thank you very much to all the lovely people of Russia who were so kind to Stewart while he was there and sent some beautiful gifts and their regards
great
to me.
food.
Yeah, fabulous food, you said, while you were
vodka.
here. Yeah,
Did I mention the vodka?
You know, you didn't mention the vodka. It's the first time.
Because that was really something.
It's the first time. All right, anything else you want to close with?
Well, clothes like...
Clothes with?
Yeah. And would you like...
Any other clothes?
Would you like them to send in their naked pictures?
No.
No. Then we can like pick the best one. That could be like a free.
I think we should have a T-shirt contest where they send you in their favorite T-shirt.
Oh, I have so many T-shirts.
And then you could wear it with all your, fancy things or funny sayings on it. That's what I think would be fun.
I have a few I could wear.
Do you?
Right now, yeah.
Okay, well maybe you should put some of those on, some new ones, because I think those are fun. So anyway, if you want to see Stewart wear some interesting thing on the show.
Or not anything.
Please send him T-shirts. We do not want him to not wear anything, which could possibly happen.
Could
possibly happen. So anyway, we have lots of fun stuff coming up. So be sure and join us. It was always fun to visit with you, share our world with you, our world views with you, and our out of this world views with you. How's that?
Fine.
Okay. Anyway, so until next time, this is Janet Diane Mourglia-Swerdlow saying goodbye.
And Stewart A. Swerdlow saying, don't share poop. Bye.
Bye-bye.